right, good evening, everyone. This is a June 2nd, 2021 Brookline Select Board meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:30 this evening. At this time, I'd like for everyone, if you have your agenda, to take a look at it to see if there are any changes that you would like made to the agenda. Does anyone have any changes?
I don't think so.
Todd, I just wanted to add, if we could add a couple, if I could just have a couple minutes under new business. I just unfortunately need to resign from a couple of boards, not this one, but other ones. So, not this one, but other ones.
Okay,
So,
very good. All right, hearing that there's no other changes except to add a new business for David Jones. We'll take a look at the minutes from the May 19th, 2021 Select Board meeting. We'll go over on just 4 pages. On page 1, I would like, Peter, could you add Mark Bills under members of the public?
Yeah,
He came in a little late, but he was there. Anybody see anything else on page 1?
Yeah.
Bruce?
Under DV fiber, I think it's a 6th paragraph. Mr. Mello discussed need for a rep. I didn't remember discussing a need for a rep.
We're on page 1.
Is that page 1?
No.
Excuse me. I don't have it in front of me. I wrote the changes down on a piece of paper.
Oh, okay. Anything on page 1, anybody else? All right, now Bruce, page 2, Bruce, go ahead.
I'm with the program. I don't think so. It says 6th paragraph, Mr. Mello discussed need for a rep. I don't remember. Maybe you all can tell me I did. Under DV fiber.
I'm trying to find it. I don't see it.
Okay, it's a 6th paragraph.
Oh, okay. It's not the beginning. It was confirmed that Comcast did not provide fiber optic service. Mr. Mello discussed the need for a representative. Ms. Maggio suggested COVID-19 funds might be available. You don't
remember.
recall?
It's not big. No, I don't. Maybe I did, but I don't recall saying that. But whatever.
I'll take it out. We addressed that later on. Anyway.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else on page 2?
Is town hall pest removal on that page?
No.
Okay. Sorry.
All right, now we'll go to page 3 of 4, and that includes building commissioner's report and highways and Peter,
Yeah.
I would like to put something in a different sequence on page 3 under town hall pest removal.
Yes.
The second sentence, it says Mr. Mello's noted minor animal activity. I would like that to follow, be at the end of his report and have it say Mr. Mello noted minor animal activity behind the daycare building.
I did.
Okay.
We're talking about the dumpster.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So that had nothing to do with the town hall pest, but if we could put that last. And I had to look up reconnoiter, what that meant, but.
Oh boy, that one got me.
Yeah.
Did you look it up?
Yes. Very military.
Something about. Yeah,
What did
right.
you say, reconnoiter?
And you spelt it wrong.
Oh, I don't know. Did he?
It's TRE, not TER.
I don't know where they are either.
Where are you?
Oh, We're still
3rd
under.
paragraph of town hall.
Well, if you're British.
Okay. All right. Anything under page 4?
Is repairs and projects.
The repairs and projects plan is still on page 3. What did you see on that?
2nd paragraph. About should be together in one word.
Mr. Bills reported.
You see it? Repairs and projects in the 2nd paragraph. There's about is in that sentence someplace, and it's not together. It's a blank bout.
Oh, just the typo, okay. The word
Yeah, it's
about
just
is, okay. All right,
On the-
anything else? Go to
Where's
page
agenda
four,
on
any-
4? Yeah,
Yes, that's correct. Page 4, any changes?
yeah.
Can we-
Agenda,
Yeah,
when materials were not expected until June, I don't follow that at all. I don't understand the meaning of that at all.
Oh, well, that's what was said, and it refers to August expenditure deadline when materials were not expected until June. The materials were expected later than they would probably arrive in time for the August expenditure deadline, if I remember that correctly.
We haven't gotten any materials yet.
It meant that you had to complete the work within 45 days, and with the June delivery date might be too
Is that
tight.
what you were pertaining to?
That's what
that's
I
what you're
believe was
pertaining to,
being
Pete?
discussed.
You're right. It just,
Okay.
I don't understand the sentence, but whatever.
I'm wondering if materials was referencing the documents that the Preservation Trust of Vermont was looking for as opposed to
Mhm.
building materials. That makes sense in that sentence. And I think that was one of the
Okay.
intended concepts I was offering at that time.
Okay.
okay.
And I don't know whether I said materials or not. I could have used materials for that term. After 2 weeks, my memory is half gone anyway, so.
Yeah.
My
it's
understanding,
not
as
exactly
I
super-
recall, was that it was building materials.
Yeah, we don't have, yeah.
And that if they didn't arrive in time, you wouldn't have enough time to complete the work. Expenditure deadline.
I think
Frida,
if I can shed some light on that, I think what I was concerned about, the turn time.
Frida,
So, all right, we'll try to ignore the dog.
All right.
the boss speaks.
I believe in that sentence, what I was trying to do is express the concern that I was having in that I wasn't sure whether this project could be brought to fruition and completion by the 1st of August. And what I indicated was that there were documents that were probably in need of going to the Vermont Preservation Trust ASAP. And that we didn't know exactly how long it was going to take for the Preservation Trust to turn around the documents, approve them, to then approve the work to begin to hopefully enable completion of the project by the 1st of August, and the money be dispersed by the 1st of August, which is what the letter says. So however
Right.
that's supposed to be, and I do recall saying, are we going to get this done in 30 or 45 days?
Right,
It was hard to fathom that that was going to happen.
right.
Can I propose that we add?
All right, so we were
the
talking about
word-
adding the-
Can I make a
Wait.
suggestion?
I'm having a hard time hearing.
Yeah, so whoever's
Frida's
got
really,
their speaker
Frid-
on, you need to mute when you're not talking. Because we're getting feedback from the speaker being on. Can I just suggest that we add the word bid in front of materials in that sentence? So that it says expenditure deadline when bid materials were not expected until June? Because I agree with Stan. I think that was the spirit of what he was saying.
right.
And does that make it more understandable, Bruce? You think if we say that?
Yes, it does.
So
We should
mote it
just do
be.
that.
All right, so we will add the word bid before the word material in that sentence, and that should correct any unclear.
Yep. Move on. Yep.
Okay,
One other correction in that same paragraph.
yes,
Third line after forward Mr. Noga. What I offered to do was to politely contact Joseph and Doug to see if they would be willing to, if there was a need, if they felt there was a need to assist them in drawing together the components that were being asked by the Preservation Trust. So I think I'd like to change that. Mr. Noga offered to contact Joseph or Douglas to offer assistance with completing paperwork for the Historic Preservation Bureau or Department.
Okay. Is that okay, Peter? You have that?
Give me a moment. I'm thinking that the whole sentence could go and nobody'd miss it.
You got that right.
Who are the individuals that you were going to communicate with?
Joseph Dutton and Douglas Wellman.
And that was regarding offering assistance?
Yes, in completing the paperwork that was required by the Vermont Preservation Trust.
Got it.
All right, very good. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes from the May 19th, 2021 Select Board meeting as amended. May I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Seconded by Stan. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes passed unanimously as amended. All right, we will move now into the scheduled members of the public. We have Joseph Dutton. We're going to talk about what you have done for the Round Schoolhouse grant work. Joseph, you're on.
All right, hello everybody. So I've been first off, Stan, I've been out of town, and then I just recently got back and just checked my email today. But I will probably follow up with you on that help because where we stand now, I have spoken with Chris Parker. He went by the Round Schoolhouse. He kind of did a recon of the work that needs to be done, and then he came up with a plan and just emailed me over a relatively rudimentary statement of work that I forwarded to, I believe, everyone except Stan, because I couldn't find your email at the time. And he could start working on that before July, like if the funds become available. He was anticipating it would cost roughly $3,000. That was a couple $100 over what we had estimated would be left, given all the other work we had planned on doing. I'm not sure how the board would feel about funding just a couple $100 if need be out of some other fund than the grant money.
Joseph, there's $5,000 in grant money.
Right.
Yeah, so I haven't gotten the exact bid from Norm Holding yet. Doug had just spoken to him again, I believe, yesterday. But I think that was going to be like, I don't know, 1,500 or something. And then I thought that we had also discussed having ServPro come in and do a professional cleaning of the building. So all three of those together, it seems like will be just a little bit over $5,000.
Okay, I have a couple of questions, Joseph. I've maybe I make sense to you. Do you think the grant would, as far as the windows go, weren't the windows just done about 10 years ago when they had the whole Round Schoolhouse remodeled?
I believe they had some work done to them. I'm not 100% sure what the extent of that work was. Whether they brought them up to 100%, they replaced all of them. I don't know for sure, but I mean, after looking at the windows, it does seem as though they need a little bit more work. Some of the like we had discussed, some of the whatever it is, the putty.
Glazing.
Yeah, is falling off, and in a couple places they need a little bit of paint work. I mean, it's relatively minor, and I think that the price sort of reflects that, because there's 5 windows and kind of a historical restoration. Less than $1,500, I think, is kind of reasonable, and I'm under the belief that the trust would have no problem funding that if it's in keeping with the historic preservation of the building.
Is the sign, I have 2 other questions. Is the repainting of the sign and a plaque which identifies it as a National Historic Building part of that? Could that be part of the grant or no?
That I'm not aware of the exact answer to that. My guess would be no, because really the only guidelines I was given was that the money needs to be spent on restoration of the building. So yeah, the sign that's out there, I'm not 100% sure. And then, are you talking about getting one of those like green placards?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm not 100% spun up on how it works, but I think that has its own kind of system that maybe, I don't know if it's supposed to be tied to other grant money or if they help you out with that already. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, the building it has been listed as a historic building already, from my information. But so do you have this written up so that we can? Do you have like a hand paperwork on this? Or this is what we were expecting? You brought this up in April.
Yeah. All I have right now is that in writing is that statement that Chris sent over to me today, and yeah, I apologize for not having everything kind of squared away, but yeah, I've been a little out straight.
All right. Let me ask the select board member, how do we go? Where do we go from here? I'm thinking that we can't authorize any work until we have paperwork that we approve to send to the Preservation Trust of Vermont and get it back. So I'm just a little concerned about the timing.
I would be happy to sit down with Joe anytime he has spare time to formulate a scope of work based on his estimates and put it in a format that would be an overview presentation to the Vermont Preservation Trust.
Yeah, that's what we need.
And then organize the bids and look at them with Joe to see if they're adequate enough in terms of their description. Hopefully that with the cover letter and the bids, the description, try to work it so that it comes out at the $5,000. I'm not sure how they're going to take going over by a couple hundred, unless we're prepared to issue a letter saying that the difference up to a certain amount will be covered by the town of Brookline. And I don't know how anyone feels about that. I'm kind of thinking from the hip, but I would think that it should be something I would assume that the board would want to look at in its finality before we send it to the state.
Yes.
Preservation Trust. So it kind of looks like the best that's going to happen is the next meeting that we okay it as a board, and then overnight it or whatever we can possibly do to the Preservation Trust.
Yeah.
Right.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Bruce. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I didn't understand the first part of the work that's being proposed. Is that for the outside of the building? I understand the window part. I understand considering cleaning it, but I didn't understand the first part. What was that? What was that scope of work?
The Chris Parker work.
Yeah, that's what we had discussed with the like that stone wall on the outbuilding that's fallen down, and the
Yeah,
and all the
that's
all
what I
the,
thought you meant.
yeah, all the woodwork that's required
Okay.
in there.
I just had to clarify it. Okay, that's what I thought.
All right, gentlemen and ladies, I do see that there is a fund balance for the historic round school building of
Dot.
2,000, I'm
Yep.
not, $2,751.64. So that if we do go over the $5,000, there is
We're all set.
$2,700 left over.
Dot,
Gwen?
since we have paperwork on part of this, can't we vote on this section? I mean, we're getting really down to like the wire.
We don't have anything paper in front of us to vote on.
Well, I'm looking at the bid that he got from Chris.
I didn't see the bid from Chris. Where did you get it?
It was emailed to me.
That's a month.
Joseph.
Email
Yeah.
today.
I just emailed it a little while ago. Chris just emailed it to me. I mean, that's part of the reason this is all kind of taken a while is because, you know, before I left, I talked to Chris, and then he took a week to go look at it. And then I, you know, got back, and you know, it took some time to get in touch with him. So it you know, there's a little bit of back and forth. I'm not too concerned about Chris being able to get the work done. He said that he could start the work next week, and
Ooh.
and I told him, hey, I don't think we're gonna have the funds ready by next week, so I wouldn't be concerned about Chris being able to get the work done prior to August 1st. Doug told me he would have a statement from Norm pretty soon here, and he's pretty confident Norm will be able to get the work done before August 1st. So I'm not too concerned about running out of time in terms of that. We definitely don't have a lot of spare time to just, you know, sit on our hands, but I don't think that we're in big trouble necessarily.
I have a
Can I ask a question?
My thought is the board hasn't voted on anything necessarily, so I guess that's the only concern of mine is that you know, we're moving forward. Speaking of Chris, we're moving forward. Speaking of Norm and Bruce, I thought Bruce, you're moving forward talking to ServPro, but the board hasn't voted to say 100% that they actually do those things, regardless of what the state says, the trust says about it.
I got a question and then a statement.
Bruce, go ahead.
Is that Chris Fogarty?
No, it's Chris Parker.
Oh, from that does timber
Guilford.
construction,
Yeah.
correct?
Restoration.
Yeah. Okay. And what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, as far as ServPro's out of the picture. I have to recall him again. He never even gave me a bid, and I asked him twice for it. So we're going to have to address that some way differently. But I don't see that as being a major thing. I think what we need to do is find out some way through a phone call to what's his name, Ben Doyle, right? I got his name right, I believe.
Yes.
As to whether these certain items are covered, it would make things a little more expeditious. Because he'd say, no, cleaning the building's not going to cover it. Or no, the sign won't work. At least we would know right up front until we're going around spinning our wheels for getting all this work together. If we found this out.
Yeah, Bruce, I will
right.
interrupt to say that I believe what I spoke about several meetings ago is that I had been in touch with the president, and he okayed any timber work on the shed, he okayed the work on the windows, and he okayed any sort of cleaning work. They still need, you know, the statements of work to go along with that. Now, the only thing that's in question as of tonight that I did not check with him is the sign. But all the other things that we're speaking about are okayed by the trust and by him.
Okay, then we have to I have to revisit. We have to revisit the cleaning part of it and who's going to do it. I can try Surf Pro again, but I don't see this as being a major thing that's going to hold anything up. That's for sure.
Stan, you have to say something? Yes, go ahead.
I have a major concern and I'd like to make a suggestion. I have been responsible for $186 million in construction loans, and the negotiations that go on with homeowner, builder, contracts, et cetera, et cetera. And it's common practice that if there's a conversation with an entity that you're dependent upon money for, that after a conversation on the phone, you immediately contact them and ask them to put that in writing and send it to you. At this
Got a
point,
point.
given that we're trying to pull things together, and if I hear Joe right, there are two concerns Joe seems to have, and that is he wants to know that he has the board's desire to proceed and get this organized. And I think we are, as a group, it looks like, wanting to be of help whatever we can. I guess what I want to suggest is either Joe or myself ask, probably Joe, email Mr. Doyle and ask him to put in writing the fact that he's willing to allow only the start on certain things, which is contrary to what he has in his letter, which says must be completed and paid for by August 1st. So we have something in writing. Because if we don't, and he won't provide it, then the concept becomes, do we want to have it started and not finished and not have the $5,000 grant? It becomes a non-event. And I think that's the only way I would feel comfortable as a board member approaching further work and effort into it if Mr. Doyle confirms the concept that go what you can and start it before August 1st, and we'll present the grant. And again, that's contrary to what his letter says.
Yeah.
And Doc, can I just interject? I just want to ask Joseph, to Stan's point, I don't recall ever being told, maybe I missed it, that Mr. Doyle had even indicated that that was an option. I thought that we were all still operating under the assumption that this work has to be done by August 1st, and that no phone conversations with him had changed any of that. Is that correct, Joseph?
Yeah, that is correct. I haven't had a phone call with Mr. Doyle. It's just been through email. And yeah, I was never under the impression that we could go past August 1st.
Okay, so I guess what I'd like to say is, I mean, I will say for myself, I'm supportive of us doing the restoration work that Chris Parker has proposed and the window work that Norm Holden has proposed, provided that we can get to the preservation organization whatever bid documents they need to be comfortable saying they will pay for it after the fact. Because I'm sure they still need to your point, they still need to see the actual quotes and understand this extent of the work and say, yes, we'll pay for it. But I have no problem with us moving ahead with that. I mean, the reality is, as a board, quite frankly, I'm not going to vote to spend the money unless I know they're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
Because we don't have that money. Obviously, we don't have enough money to be able to pay for all of this unless they're going to. So I think if we could just move forward with getting them the bid documents we have, and they can come back, he can say this isn't enough information, and then Joseph and maybe with Stan's help can pull together what's necessary. But we've talked about this for weeks and we haven't really moved forward at all, and we are going to run out of time. And also, I would say, I am not so worried about whether we spend every bit of this $5,000. If all we have is quotes on the building work and the windows, let's just do that. Getting that done and having it be covered by the grant is better than getting none of it done, which is where we were a month ago. So
without a doubt,
let's not get too hung up in getting every penny of this if it's going to slow us down. That's all. That's my 2 cents.
Your recorder is confused at this point.
This is where
You-
you say we discuss the particulars of how to proceed and just leave it.
Yes, but what's confusing is you either want to confirm every penny or you don't. I don't know how you can confirm part of it in order
No,
to
I'm
get started.
saying I'm not concerned about whether we end up spending every penny, but I am concerned that we confirm what we spend is going to be reimbursed.
Got it, thank you.
Sure.
And Joseph, I mean, we would not have put this on our agenda over for the past few times had we not been supportive of it. Would you want us to vote, or what are you looking for, Joseph?
Well, I just I suppose that it seems like we're in favor of moving forward on these things, so I can at least contact the trust and kind of give them what we got and ask them what else they need moving forward. But again, like, I didn't want to send them any like quotes or anything if we didn't want to actually pursue the work.
I understand that. And as we talked about last week, we really can't be, well, when people email things on the day of the board meeting, it's very difficult for all of us to be able to find that because sometimes we're not going back to our email. So I didn't realize that you had sent out the information from Chris Parker, which I will look at and print. And if we can do the same thing with Norm Holden's information, send it to the select board members as soon as you get that in. If you work with Stan and come up with a letter and CC the board, we will, at the next board meeting, put it back on our agenda, and we hopefully will be able to move forward expeditiously and do what we can.
That sounds like a plan. And again, I apologize for emailing things tonight, and just making this meeting is a stretch for me. So, you know.
No, I perfectly understand. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, it isn't.
We'll get over it.
David, I see your, do you want to say anything else? I just noticed the hand up here. This is different.
That was
Okay,
from about
I got
15 minutes ago, but I can take it down now. Yeah. I guess I would, as
Okay.
a side add, if we need to use these things because we're blowing through the concept of everyone weighing in on things at the moment. So.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Well,
Right.
while I have Joe here, is there, if you have your calendar in front of you, is there a date and time you want to get together, or do you want to spend your valuable time getting that up to Mr. Doyle in lieu of that?
At this point, I think I can't make any commitments. I'll just have to shoot you some emails to try to get a time that we can sit down.
All right.
I mean, I'll shoot you an email right after I get off the meeting here, and we'll try to figure something out over the next within the next 7 days.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate your efforts.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Joseph, thank you again for following up on this. You're much appreciated. We'd like to get this going, and so I'll put it back on the agenda for the next meeting.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. We'll move on.
Thanks, Joseph.
All right. Everyone have a good one.
All right. Very good. Okay. Under new business, any unscheduled members? No. Under new business, David, you wanted to speak to us about some commitments that you have?
Yeah, so just two quick things. First is I'm going to resign from the Wyndham Solid Waste Management District effective immediately. I just don't have the time to do it. And I haven't made a meeting in several months, and I'm not going to be able to make any meetings. So I'll inform them of that. But I can't do that anymore. The other thing is that, unfortunately, now that I've had the opportunity to actually look at the meeting schedule for the DV fiber, I can't do that either. Looking at their meeting schedule, unfortunately, it's another one of these organizations that has meetings during the day or during what I wouldn't even describe as evening. their regular meetings are at 5 p.m. on the third Wednesday of the month, which I'm still at work at that point. So, and unfortunately, all of the committee meetings and most of their special meetings seem to be at 2 o'clock during days. So, you know, I apologize for having gone forward with that, but I honestly would have assumed that they would have meetings at a time that would allow people who are employed to participate, but apparently they don't. So given, I guess we don't have to necessarily discuss this now, and we probably shouldn't discuss it now because it's not on the agenda, but I would suggest that we put on the agenda for the next time, reconsidering whether we join that district. Because I know I was a big proponent of it, and I still think it would be good if we participated. But now that I'm taking myself out of the equation as a representative, I don't necessarily expect that it still makes sense for us to do it. So I'd suggest we put it on the next agenda. We can discuss it again, and maybe we vote again as to whether we still want to move forward or not. That's all.
Okay, I mean, I did send in the paperwork already on that, but I have a copy of it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, and I honestly I didn't get around to really looking at their. You know, I took a quick look at their website and I saw a couple of meetings, but it turns out they were meetings that weren't really conforming to the regular schedule. So once I really started looking at it, I realized there's no way I'm going to be able to do it. It was ridiculous for me to think I could. So I apologize for that. But it is what it is.
Okay, fair enough. I'll put that on the next. I will put that on the next agenda. Wyndham Solid Waste Management District position. I can also put that out for, okay. And the DV fiber reconsideration. All right.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep, I understood.
David, thank you very much for your service on the Wyndham Solid Waste Management District. I think the town has been lucky to have you as a rep there, and it served us
Yes.
well over time, and I appreciate as a citizen what you've done.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I will say it's a great organization. It's a great group of people, and I genuinely am sorry that I can't do it anymore. So yeah, thank you, Stan. I appreciate that.
What were those meetings? Are they continuing in person, David, or are they Zoom meetings?
They're still primarily Zoom meetings, although they have started to allow a limited number of in-person participants in the last couple of months.
Okay.
But mostly they're still Zoom.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Anything else under new business? I guess we move on. Under old business, the Preservation Trust Grant, we've already discussed. Joseph was able to join us. Next, we'll move down to the Town Hall Rodent Concerns and Remedies. Review the scope of work as written up in an estimate from ServPro and State Wildlife Control and decide on a timeline for remediation. This is under new business. It could also be under Bruce later on, but we might as well get this out of the way now.
Okay.
All right. So,
Okay.
All right. So go ahead. Tell us what you and Stan have found out and what you would
Okay.
propose.
Did everybody get my email?
Yes,
Did everybody read it?
yes.
No, I'm not being funny. Did
Sorry.
did you see it?
Which email are you talking about?
Yeah.
Bruce?
Which
I'm
email?
talking about. I just have one email related to this to the excuse me.
I read it,
To
Your
Bruce.
town office, the one
yes.
town office. Okay. Yeah.
I read it.
Okay.
Read it.
Dot, you read it?
Give me a hint about
Dot.
which one.
I only
Give me
sent
a-
one, I think, about the town office, about
The one that
about the
says-
town office, and about my phone call with Scott. What did I say in
Yes,
it? Oh,
that Stan may have saved the town X number of dollars.
yes.
That-
Yes.
Okay, that's all I needed was a hint. Okay.
What's that? Okay.
That's all I
David,
needed
you
was-
saw that? Did anybody not see it? Let's put it that way.
I did. Yeah.
Okay, you saw it. Okay, so I don't really need to go over it anymore. All I'm saying is this: if you want me to go ahead with it, I'm going to call him tomorrow morning and schedule a time to have him do the work. that's been discussed. If anybody has any questions about the work, I can answer that as well.
Can I just say, sorry, can I ask a question about the work?
Oh, absolutely.
The only thing I'm not sure I understand is in your email, you make references to prices that I'm not sure I see how they exactly jive with his estimate.
Okay.
How much could you just break down what we are actually going to pay him to do as opposed to what he provided on the estimate?
He's going to do everything that's on the estimate that you see there, except monitor the mice traps. That's going to be me. And by doing that, we're going to save $200, but the bill is $800. And that's obvious. Let me finish here. Also, his name is Scott, noticed with Stan when they met that there were some wires chewed off by mice, or plural, and I since have called Dampier Electric, and they're going to come. He said by the end of the week to fix it. I don't expect that will cost any more than like $250 to $300. So if you add everything together, the 800 and the 300 guesstimate, we're looking at 1,100 as opposed to 2,500 from ServPro. And you saw what I said in the email. Excuse me. That Stan did a remarkable job getting the information. He did great. He saved the town a lot of money. And I had a nice discussion with the man yesterday, and I got every confidence that he's going to do a good job because I'm going to be watching him. And we discussed specifics: hole in the bulkhead, the holes, the openings in the foundation, and so on. So, like I said, I have every confidence he's going to do it right. And Stan had told me the techniques that he was going to use, and he verified that, and we discussed that as well. So it's up to the board now. I think it's a good idea to go forward. I've already approved to have Dampier come because that's a safety issue. Those wires are chewed off, and I don't expect that to cost too much money. But initially, Stan and I were under the misinterpretation that he meaning Scott would have to come after the wires are done, but I clarified that with Scott doesn't matter. So if Dampier by any stretch of the imagination doesn't show up by the end of the weekend, which is always a possibility, we can still have the work done before Dampier does it. It's not going to affect the quality of the work to seal the building.
Okay, very good. Stan has something he wanted to say. He raised his hand.
Yeah, the first thing I want to make clear is I view my job when I offer to assist as purely providing information and data. So I have no vested interest or opinion about at this time which of the two I would prefer. I know back when there seemed to be a concept that ServPro might be the only avenue available for the town to utilize, and that was unfortunately sad to hear. So I made an effort to get as many helpful sources as possible for this issue and any other rodent issue, insect or four-legged with a heart in the future. So the three things I think that Scott is going to do is seal the locations that are the access points for the mice with stainless steel. He called it steel wool, but I did send you a picture of it. It's kind of like a wire mesh. It's like a small fence, very, very fine wire, but a lot of it. And he puts it in the major holes. And then he's going to plug the holes, again, a part of sealing it with a vinyl device that's formed for corners of buildings specifically. And then he's going to vacuum the droppings and any junk insulation in the basement. And he mentioned that there are some soffit areas that he thought might be access points, and he's going to take care of that. So the three major points in summarizing his estimate are that he's blocking it, sealing it, and his source of eliminating or curing the problem of the feces being there is to vacuum it up. And for that he's gonna do it for the $800. If we want him to do the mouse trapping, it's an additional $200. And if I read
Correct.
the letter of Bruce's letter. I think it was of yesterday morning, was it, Bruce?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, you said that you would do that. I'd be happy to help. I'm sure Gwen and
Okay.
Guy might have some thoughts about that as well. I don't know.
Sure.
So that's the savings of $200 there. And there's something else that I wanted to say, but I can't remember what it is right now. I will say this, I compared the budget. There was a concern that I had because everywhere I looked on CDC, it said that feces should be picked up. It should be sanitized and picked up with paper towels or rags.
Right.
And so I had a concern that this estimate from Scott might be a disadvantage to Guy and Gwen and to the solution of the fact that anyone going into that office, treasurer, assistant treasurer, whoever, listers might be subject to the same materials. So I went back and looked at ServPro's estimate. I don't know if you all did that as well, but it looks like a little over $1,000 of ServPro's estimate is HEPA vacuuming, just like Scott wants to do. So
Wow.
my first thought was, why is the CDC saying don't do that? But yet we do have two estimates, and both are basically utilizing a significant amount of time and effort, and almost 50% of the cost in the ServPro estimate. It looks like of the $2,500, there's another $200 they're using to pay for their hazmat suits, masks, respirators,
Yeah.
those kinds of things. And then the balance, roughly $1,300 or $1,250, seems to be comprised of wetting the surfaces down with a hazmat type solution and then soaking it up. It looks like Scott, so if we're asking vacuuming, they're both coming in about almost at the same venue, the same amount. But if we're looking at what it is that Guy and Gwen feel comfortable with and what the board feels comfortable with, I think that's the important question right now. Trying to figure out the CDC. They say that after airborne particles of COVID-19 and any virus are in the air for more than 6 hours, atomized and in the air, they supposedly die. After 5 days, they die. If you put solution over them, they die in 5 minutes. I think time-wise, in looking at what we have there for a dilemma, I don't know if we need to go the route of the sanitizing process with the bleach, 1 part bleach, 9 parts water, or the other sanitizing, the other $1,300 with ServPro. So, I guess my concern would be finding out what would Gwen and Guy be happy with as being there all the time, and what the board thinks would be appropriate in light of the fact that there are mixed messages from CDC, and we have an opportunity.
Right. I think Gwen has her hand up. She'd like to answer that question, I guess. Go ahead.
I don't really have an answer for that yet, but my question on this estimate, it's the $1,000 monitoring traps. He wants $800 to monitor traps.
No.
200 if he were to do it.
What he's saying is if you do the traps yourself, which is worth $200, he's only going to charge $800. That's what that means.
Right. The bill is for $1,000, but he's going to take $200 off since Bruce is going to monitor it.
Oh, okay.
That's the difference.
Okay.
And what's
So his cost would be his
I
cost
tried to
would
make
be
that clear.
800.
Yeah.
I
His
tried to
cost
make that
would be
clear in the
800.
letter.
Right.
All right.
Can I-
My only question that Stan was talking about, we can't have them come in and make a wet solution down there. There's records down there that have to be kept. They can't be wet.
Yeah.
Most of, I'm not disagreeing with you, but most of the poops are on the floor and in the crawl space.
I don't
But
think that. Go ahead.
Go ahead. That being said, we have 2 contractors who are not doing it that way. So yeah, I'm not going to tell you all what to do. I'm just going with what these professionals. They could be sued if we had an issue with this. It doesn't guarantee that we're not going to have mice come in, But if something were to happen and somebody got sick, I think there would be a problem there. So in as much as that's being said, when it's going to be done is the building's going to be closed. There's nobody going to be in the building. So we'd have to clarify that up as well. Also, I want to just make one additional point before we move on and resolve this. I believe that Scott might be under the understanding, a correct understanding. When Mark and I were looking at everything and we were down there for the hour and doing what we did, sealing off the bulkhead door, et cetera, I was trying to find points, obviously, and did find some. What Scott believes is the issue, and I brought up the bulkhead to him because it hadn't been mentioned, and he said flat out, he said he thought it wasn't because any opens where the bulkhead come together, where they close, et cetera, were causing the problem. Let me finish, please. It was a hole. There's a hole in the bulkhead itself, and he said that hole permitted the mice to go right into the crawl space, because I do remember being in the crawl space and looking out over on that side, and the box sill had not been towed in or affixed to the original foundation of the old part of the town office. So it just permits the mice to come right in the door. That's where he thinks they're getting in. So that's just point number 2. We can go back to point number 1 if you want to rediscuss that. But
I think Stan has his hand up, and then I'd like to say something after Stan. Go ahead, Stan.
Yeah, when I was there with Scott, he asked me if I'd open the bulkhead door, which I did. And you look at the floor and there's a water stain from when it rains, because water does get down into the bulkhead. And there's lots of mice poop on the outside side of the bulkhead door. The hole that appears in the sill near the bulkhead is along where the 2 buildings come together, just east of, toward Putney Mountain, the bulkhead, by about 18 to 24 inches. There's a wicked hole that
really?
Yeah, it's not the bulkhead per se. Scott's comment to me after he looked around the building before he even got there, he says there's no need to seal the bulkhead, because if they get down here, they can't get through the bulkhead door. He said, but you'd be wasting money. He said where they are coming in is the hole in your sill plate where the 2 buildings meet, which, as I said, is about 24 inches roughly east of the bulkhead. And if you walk into the crawl space, I should say, you crawl up into the crawl space, look
you'll
immediately along that wall where the opening is for the crawl space, you will see daylight in that corner where the 2 buildings meet. So I don't believe he, at least in his description to me, he didn't indicate that there was any need to seal the bulkhead. What he thought were the 2 main entries were the hole where the 2 buildings meet on the front side, which has about a 5-6 inch gap, 1.5 inches high, where the mice are just highwaying in, and a similar but half the size opening on the other side of the building in the same plane of where the 2 buildings meet. He did have a sophisticated tool. He laughingly said it was a stick, and he went around the outside of the building and he found holes where the mice are coming in. So he said he was going to plug those, and then he commented about the siding. So that was his description to me while I was there. And he may have thought about it and modified it, Bruce. So I'd be certainly interested in.
No, I'm just telling you what he said. I'm just telling you what he said, Stan. I do recollect myself being in that crawl space and seeing that like used to, I don't know, there was a gap there. I had sealed in other parts of the crawl space there, and I went getting ready to go out to jump down like what we did a week ago, and I looked over in that corner. I said, "Oh boy, well, we got to do that too." You could, like you said, you could see right through the daylight. Any mouse in his right mind have a field day.
All right, and I'm
That's
gonna
enough.
interject you just for a second. Gwen, I know there are lots of records downstairs and they're in paper boxes. I would like to see going forward after this cleanup downstairs, and I would volunteer to do some of that work. I could put a mask on and wear gloves, but I think we need to repackage some of those records into plastic containers with desiccating gel bags in them to keep their water moisture out of it. And I think that's a separate project going forward, but I think that's a project that that needs to be done. Yes, I understand what you're saying. So we're not going to be spraying water down in the basement. We're not going to be spraying a disinfectant. He's going to do the vacuuming, and we do need to find somebody. I would like to see the upstairs building after this is done get cleaned, by everything wiped down. And I'm not looking at Gwen or Guy to do that either. I'd like to see that all done at least once. So
Dot, I have a question.
Go ahead.
I'm just wondering, being that the school district now has control over everything, wouldn't it be advantageous to possibly give those school records that we have there to the school district and let them archive them as necessary?
Absolutely. Great idea. Great idea. Yes. I will deliver them myself. I will talk to
That
Relax, Dot. Frida will do it.
Would free up some space
Hi, Frida.
and some room, and going forward, right now I have all of the records being kept in cardboard cartons covered, but a plastic container might even be more advantageous, although I'm a little concerned about plastic sweating. But the bottom line is just to keep the rodents or whatever it is out of the records and a place to do their business.
Yes, and Guy, you can buy on Amazon. They just like you find in your shoes that you buy. You can buy packs, desiccant packs that you put into the plastic containers that would keep the moisture, the humidity out. And
okay, that's great. So if you want to touch base with the school district and see if they wish to take over those records, that certainly would make me happy.
I will. I will. Okay. All right. I'm gonna move along here, and I am going to make a motion that we approve the expenditure of $800 to the EW's East Estate Wildlife Control LLC company to, as per their quote, to remediate the mice problems in the town hall at this time. So if I can have a second, and then we can have any other discussion to finalize or pull this together. So may I have a second?
I second.
Oh, is that
I
Gwen?
second.
Okay, Gwen seconded it. Any other discussion about moving forward to approve the $800 expenditure for the town hall road remediation?
Could you give me the name of the company being paid?
It's called Estate, ESTATE, Wildlife Control LLC, and they are from Canaan, New Hampshire. All right, hearing no other discussion, all those in favor of approving the expenditure of $800 for the remediation of the rodents problem in the town hall signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimously passed? Yes, very good. Thank you all. This was a
One
big
quick question, Dot.
Yes, sir.
In the town budget, we have approximately $1,500 left. So if you need some help with that, we can take that out of supplies and postage.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll come in and talk to you about it tomorrow. That's great. Thanks, Guy.
Guy, we also going to have that bill from the electric company too, so we'll have to work that out as well.
Okay. All right, so we're going to continue on old business now. We're down to the ITDRC Wi-Fi hotspot at Town Hall. I do have a little bit of follow-up information. We've all had a chance to read the email response from Two Wired Guys, identifying that the company, of course, is legitimate. The equipment used is of good quality. The installation is provided, as well as the equipment at no cost. The access point will cover the parking lot and the town office. And while it does not Notice here, it says, does not provide support after the equipment has been installed. I spoke to Dustin about that, and he says while he does not have a crew that will come out, there is a support phone and email if there's ever any questions or concerns about that. So that was modified. It says they do not provide internet service. Well, we get that from Comcast, so that's not a problem. It says if you allow them to piggyback off of your existing connection, they do attempt to protect your network. And I double checked with Dustin, and they will establish a secure firewall. The second and separate internet connection is an option, but we don't really need that. And the last thing that Two Wire Guy said is if the pandemic comes to an end, you may not consider providing this type of service to the public necessary if the libraries reopen, but we don't have a library in town. And I just think that Brookline, as something that David said at one point, would improve the town's public face if we had another service that we could provide to the town. And I just think that Brookline being able to have a piece of equipment or having a Wi-Fi hotspot and being on the list that anybody in the state could come by and use that. I did ask Dustin, what if we decided not to continue, if there was if any long-term costs or problems exist? He says you can end the service. They would decommission the equipment, and that would be that. And they have installed currently 50 Wi-Fi hotspots in the state of Vermont so far. And they will still be able to do Brookline. They are up in northern New England at this time. So, anybody have anything they'd like to say? Or I'm going to make a motion and then we can discuss it. Should we do that? Okay, I'd like to make a motion that the town approves the installation of the Wi-Fi hotspot by the ITDRC project for town hall at no cost to the town. May I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second it.
All right, seconded by Dave Jones. Any other discussion?
I just wanted to bring into the context what Two Wired Guys had mentioned, and the fact that, going forward with technology changing or evolving so quickly, I'm not sure that this is a fit for the town, but by the same token, and the reason I say that is we already have public Wi-Fi at the town. But by the same token, if we can terminate when we feel that it does not serve our purpose well, then I would agree with that.
Yeah, I asked him that specifically, and his terminology is that he would decommission the equipment or the access point. So.
Okay, that works for me then.
All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the installation of a Wi-Fi hotspot at the Brookline Town Hall by the ITDRC project, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion has passed, and I will contact them and let them know. Thank you very much. I think this will be an asset to the town. And going forward, if we, get other types of satellite connections and that, this may become obsolete, but again, that can be decommissioned. So very good. All right, moving on. A little behind. Summary update, town clerk report, Mr. Guy Tanza.
Just a quick reminder, as you know, the state has passed the Voting Act, where during a general election, they will send out ballots, absentee ballots to all people on a checklist. I want people to be aware of that and let the BCA know that obviously they will have to be there to help us do the counting and so forth. The other thing is that our dog licenses were up to 80. There's still some people that are holding back. And I think part of the fact is that the declared emergency by Governor Scott is still in effect. And to be honest with you, it looks like that may terminate as early as Friday. So I'm not sure what that's going to mean
possible.
for us as a town. But I think when this does happen, the town will have to reconstruct what they want to do with meetings and so on and so forth, and with dog licensing and I'm sorry, with penalties and so forth. At this point, I think we're in good shape. We've been busy. I have to say that we've gotten through this COVID event pretty unscathed. There's been a lot of work between all people involved, the listers, the different committees. The cooperation has been phenomenal, and I'll be glad to see this all over. And hopefully can go back to a normal lifestyle. But in regards to the meetings, I almost entertain the thought that I particularly like Zoom meetings because they work for me. But I think it's something that the board needs to think about and maybe want to put that on the next agenda in the event that the governor releases the declaration of emergency. So that's pretty much it.
Can I just weigh in and say one quick thing? I think it's extremely unlikely that he's going to waive the state of emergency. He may lift the mandates when we get to 80%, but I really doubt he's going to lift a state of emergency, because that frees up federal funds and all kinds of other things that are beyond the scope of just what the mandates are. I mean, I guess we'll see, but I don't think he's indicated that he has any intention of lifting the state of emergency prematurely.
Yes, I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. Guy, I think that's a good point. I noticed in looking over some of the Newfane select board, I'm going to contact Angela Sanborn. She's the president or chair of the Newfane select board. And I think they're doing some kind of hybrid meeting setup, and I'm going to find out what she's doing and how it gets done. As far as meeting in person and also using Zoom. I think Zoom is a great format or platform to have these meetings, especially during bad weather and if somebody's out of town, they can still participate versus being on a phone all the time. But I'll put it on the agenda for a little discussion at the next meeting.
Okay, that's great. And I guess it would be interesting just to pool what people think about it at this point. Do they like the Zoom meetings, or would they like a hybrid, or just for our own information?
All right, why don't we'll start up in the top right-hand corners. Mr. Noga, how do you feel about doing Zoom meetings versus in-person or hybrid?
I kind of like them because it does save time. I can drink water here, have my stuff available. It's saves me the time down and time back. It's more convenient, I think.
Okay, thank you. David?
Yes, I think it's infinitely more convenient. I'll go so far as to say that, I mean, I have no intention of going back to an in-person meeting anytime soon. It's too much of a waste of time. I think this is far more convenient, and this is how I'd like to continue. A hybrid thing could work if there are people who want to go, but I don't intend to go back to the town office for meetings.
Gwen? Thank you, David. Gwen?
I think this works really good. I think the meetings go faster. I like that, like Dave said, we can do things here. We don't have to worry about getting there on time. I just think it goes faster, and it's, to me, much more convenient.
Bruce? Thank you, Gwen.
You don't want to hear me. You just don't want to hear me.
Bruce, let me make a suggestion. If you were able to do a Zoom meeting with a video, I think you would get the
I guess my question is, why doesn't Bruce use video?
Because Bruce is down in a basement, and I'm not looking at my laptop all the way down here. No, wait, don't prejudge me. I don't like it.
I thought you were
That's,
going to
that's,
the
hey,
gym
wait,
to work
wait,
out.
wait. I don't like it. I think that we should all be meeting together. If we never had this pandemic in the first place, we'd be doing it. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Stan, Dave, Glenn, I empathize, but I don't agree. That's where I'm at.
Okay,
End of story.
all right.
I don't want to discuss it. Oh, one more thing. I don't want to discuss it and pick it apart. Obviously, I'm going to be the only no vote. So that's okay. That's what democracy is about. But I think given that when this ends, I think we're entitled to the town to get back in that damn town office. That's my opinion.
How does
Okay.
Peter feel?
All right, Peter?
Well, thank you. I think in the larger context, much of the world is going to retain at least part of this system because of the incredible efficiency involved. Convenience, efficiency, and accessibility.
Okay, I have to say that I'm a little more nervous, I think, organizing and running the Zoom meetings. But I do like having all my stuff spread out on my little Brookline kitchen table here. And I've had some residents, however, ask when meetings were going to resume in person. And
Point taken.
and then I will, we'll spend a little bit more time on this next meeting, once I find out maybe how some of the other towns locally are handling this. But it's a
Don?
good point. Yes, sir.
Can I make one point? We're all looking out for ourselves. We're not looking out for the general community. And you just said it. Amen.
Okay, we can't.
You can disagree. It's okay to disagree.
No. But I just want to say you said we weren't going to discuss it, and then you just made a statement that I think was very inconsiderate to those of us who may embrace this. So you'll let me speak now, right? Like I let you speak, Bruce?
Correct. Go for it.
So I think that had numerous members join us virtually over the last year and a half, who it was much more convenient for them. Ask Joseph Dutton, who joined the meeting at the beginning of this and 3 weeks ago. It's infinitely more convenient for some members of the public to be able to join electronically than it is for them to join in person. So like I said during my part, some kind of hybrid model where people have both options is probably the sweet spot for everybody.
Okay. Point taken.
And like I'll bring that back. I'll do a little research and come back in the next meeting and tell you what suggestions came about. But yeah, I can see how some people, although some people don't like computers, like Cynthia now was concerned, but again, whatever. We'll move on. All right.
Just one last word. It's not all about computers. You can use your telephone, you can use your tablet, you can be in a library, you could be in Istanbul, you can join a meeting anytime you want. So I'm just letting you know.
Right. Bruce, I do think that if you had a video component, you would feel more comfortable and more a part of the meeting. That's a suggestion, but just to try it maybe. All right.
I've done it before. I've done it before, but go ahead.
All right. Anything else, Guy, in your town report? Town clerk report?
No, that's pretty much it. Like I say, we've been busy. Things are looking good. And again, I just want to thank everybody for the cooperation and the spirit that they've had. It's been a difficult time, and it looks like there's light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not the train.
Okay, good. All right, I'm just going to go through my select board chair report rather quickly. It's pretty much itemized on here, but I'll speak it so that it can be picked up from Fact TV. Mr. Lavordna made a note, sent me an email, said that he was repairing the town notice boards, the plexiglass. I'm not sure if you did do the work fee for the sand and wood chips moving because of the weather, but that is on a plan. Guy Tanza sent out, okay. Guy Tanza sent out a good list of different webinars that we can take as select board people that I'll probably take advantage of some. They look free. I also want to make note and put on the record that the Brookline Baptist Church, also known as the Brookline Meeting House, has been nominated to the National Register of Historic Places, and the announcement will be made after June 24th if that has been approved. The Meeting House is having their sign repainted. They are having an open house on Saturday from 10 to 1 at the Meeting House outside, just to get people to come and take a look at it. And also the New Fame Brookline newsletter, which first edition came out last month, has asked me for some information about what goes on in Brookline and our select board. So I am going to do a little bit of writing for them. I don't know if I missed the deadline or not, but it was sort of tight this week. But and I think that's a nice
I think it's
asset.
Friday, Dot. I'm pretty sure the
Okay.
deadline's Friday.
I can get it done tomorrow, then that's great. All right, so that's all I had for my select board report. And then Bruce, you want to talk to us about, well, we did the town hall pest removal, but anything new on the daycare or any other projects?
Dot,
Just
Oh,
go ahead.
sorry,
Go
can
ahead,
I
Dave.
just, well, no, sorry. You skipped over one of the things on your select board report, which was the treasurer's report
oh,
and
yes.
preparing questions for the June 16th meeting.
we should all have received in an email, via email from the treasurer, the balance sheets for the current year for period 10, and we'll be getting period 11, which is the 11th month. And everybody will get an email to them. I'm going to ask you all to look through it. If you have some questions on the 16th, we will be able to talk to Mike about that. Between now and the next meeting on June 16th, I'm going to try to get half an hour with the treasurers and the assistant treasurers, just so that I have a better handle on it. But I think that there are some line items that need to be shifted around so that they're easier to understand. All right, Guy, you have a question?
Yeah, I'm just curious because I looked at the balance sheets and I'm not sure what the new Brookline Community Center balance of $2,876 is all about. I thought we had closed that account quite a while ago, but I'm not aware of that.
We didn't close the account. It was a fundraising account that I think Archie and his wife used to run and used to pay for like the fish derby and such. There is money left over in it. That money has not yet been spent.
I thought that we, to be honest with you, I thought we had transferred that money quite a long time ago.
Oh, I don't know.
That's
a good question.
I thought it was the time when Stan was on the select board, as a matter of fact.
Well, then I would have been on it too.
Yeah.
I remember taking taking charge of that account from the
Revenue Society.
coordinators,
Okay,
but I don't know.
Obviously, it's going to be a question that we should raise. And there's a couple of questions in regards to the expenditures and so forth with the highway fund that still are a little foreign to me because they don't seem to make a lot of sense.
Said you talked to them about it.
Right. Okay. Yes. So that and I am gonna I'm gonna have to give Archie a call to see if he can talk to Mark about putting in for his salary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put that on my list here. Over here.
Well, that needs to go in for sure by June
Yes.
30th. We have 2 more payroll periods, and that definitely has to be done.
Absolutely. Yep. I know Mark is okay. So that is the treasurers. I'm sorry, David. I didn't skip over that on purpose. I was just running through my. See, I told you I get a little nervous sometimes.
Frida was pushing you.
Yes. All right. So that's what I have on here. So yeah, take a look at the paperwork that your treasurers will be sending out again in the next week or so. All right, Bruce, daycare building report.
I got a couple of things, not just the daycare, but also about the church. First off, since you were talking about money, I did look at the financials. I specifically didn't do an overview like you were talking about, Dot, that you'd like to have done by the next meeting, which I can do. But I was just pertaining to looking at what the numbers were for the school. And this is what I've come up with. Last month, May, was the first month that we have not had a cost in that building. Whew, that I can remember, which is great news. That's the first thing. Secondly, the financials were completed through April 11, 12, right, period 10. Because of the no cost and because it was easy for me to come up with numbers as to where we're at in the budget with the school, it appears as though once we get to July 1st, should have all the money, barring any major upheaval, for the painting. Saying that, you'll see in the financials, we spent $15,000 in 10 months on that building. And now you know why I've been bitching. So I'm hoping that all my efforts will put an end to a lot of it, most of it. That being said, I did go over to the building today, as I check at least once a week as a general rule, and it's hardly using any salt at all in the water conditioner. So I did put some in, and I'm getting a couple of bags from WW to have as a backup. But everything is working famously at this point. We're 2 months full on one UV system, not two. And at the end of this month, I'll take the first of the 2 filters before this system and look at it and see what it looks like and switch over to the other UV system so that we can just go back and forth every 3 months. Okay, now a couple other things. I asked Olivia 3 times to get me some information based on, and she said you would, based on what they pay for their fuel, and she hasn't done it. And I was quite clear about it, is because I'm looking to switch suppliers to work on the boilers if it's a problem, or for servicing it in September. So I've got to keep pushing on and try and get an answer to that, because the only way I can make a change is go to an individual private guy, which is less usable than a major company. And if it's a major company, Sandry won't do it. They don't do commercial applications. Dead River, you have to have a gas account with them, so on and so on and so on. So I'm trying to see if I can get a better price on the gas for them, switch to somebody that would be a little bit more user-friendly in terms of taking care of the gas boilers. Now the Round Schoolhouse. I was going to go to their, not Round Schoolhouse, the church. I was going to go to their meeting tonight at 6 o'clock, but I didn't do it. And as much as that, I know that they're going to have the open house Saturday. So I'm going to go over and talk to them. I'm thinking, making some suggestions to them. And the one suggestion I have is to, and I kind of talked about this with Dot, a 5-year plan. They're really doing a great job in their own individual ways doing things. Don't have to specifically get into that, but you know what I mean. I think that things are getting done a little happenstance. There's talk now of just painting the kitchen, maybe replacing the stove in there, and there's no continuity to how things are going to be done in order. And what I'm pertaining to specifically is the chances are that kitchen size is going to have to be changed in order to accommodate ADA. So what I was going to suggest to that committee, the advisory committee, and I'll talk to Leanne Saturday, is that we'd like to see them consider a 5-year plan and maybe make a list of everything that we did this 6 years ago. Stan maybe can confirm or deny what I'm saying, but we went through a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm a great list maker. You make a list, you just start writing everything down you want to do, and then you start numbering them. And I'm thinking that maybe then
Go ahead.
that
ahead.
maybe they should consider doing something like that, because I think their intentions are great, but I think things are being done a little happenstance. So if
I
anybody's
have some
got
good news for you,
comment.
Bruce. I have good
What's
news
that?
for you. I have good news for you. The
They
meeting is
changed the name of the
postponed.
building?
The meeting is postponed until tomorrow.
Oh, Jesus, I would have gone over there for nothing.
So they postponed it because I had a select board meeting. So if you wanted to come tomorrow, they're having the meeting tomorrow.
Okay. Another thing is, they, like you just kind of apply these on the same night as select board meetings. You can't go, and nobody in the select board meeting can go. I could have gone tonight at 6 o'clock, made my spiel in 10 minutes, and gotten back here to do the meeting with you all. But I think that should be considered too. Maybe they should do it on a night that
Yeah, I think it was just
three people on the select board, or either a chair, or was on that advisory committee. Not that I'm minimizing David and Gwen, not by any stretch of the imagination, but I think I guess I would like to see a little more tightened up between the select and the advisory committee. I guess that's what I'm pertaining to.
right. I think they just picked the date, and it was anyway. So it's been changed. No, it was no problem. So
Okay,
we'll see you
I think
tomorrow.
I'm done. Advisory committee. Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. All right, very good. Mark Bills was out today doing over the rail mowing, so I didn't think he was going to show up tonight. As I said, I'll follow up on the concerns we had. And as far as projects and plans, I was going to make a suggestion to him. Let me see if the select board will concur with my suggestion. If you look at the knotweed in the baseball field, it's over the sign that says home runs and innings and so on and so forth. I was wondering, do you think that the machine could cut back some of that knotweed if I asked Mark to add that to his route? What do you think, David?
I'm sure he could try to do it. The thing I will say, owning a property that has a lot of knotweed on it in Newfane, I mean, if unless you're going to cut that stuff down to the ground with something heavy duty, and then you're going to mow that area repeatedly and consistently, it is just going to grow back. I mean, the only way you stop knotweed is by mowing and mowing and mowing and mowing, and you have to mow it a lot. I mean, I've literally witnessed it grow an inch or two in a day if the conditions are right. It grows very fast, and it has very long root systems and stuff. I think it's worth, as long as Mark has got the equipment, cutting it back, and at least it will be better for a little while. But it's not like it's something that you can just cut once, like even other invasives, and have it stay for a while. I mean, we may, but we have the equipment, and if he has the time, he could try doing something. It's better than not trying anything.
Right. Stan, do you have any input on that? I was also thinking about, I think because knotweed grows so close to water that maybe poisoning it or using a weedicide would not be healthy.
You can't kill it with pesticides either. There's no, I mean, I know plenty of people who've tried all kinds of pesticides. They don't do any good. Really, the only thing that you can do is cut it down and then repeatedly mow and consistently mow the area to keep it from growing back up. But it never goes away. You just manage it by mowing it repeatedly.
Okay. We talked, I think it needs to be mowed, and we talked to somebody that is a gardener, and he said the only way you get rid of knotweed is to dig it out down deep,
at the root.
replace the soil, and he said, and even then it still grows. So it's pretty invasive, but I think it needs to be done.
Okay. Stan and then Bruce. I'll just get a 5 of us, and then I'll talk to Mark. You got your,
I
Hey,
can't add anything more. I can't add anything more that Gwen and David haven't already said.
okay. All right, Bruce, you okay with
Well,
that?
I don't have a problem with it. I don't want to see Mark spend a lot of time wasting his time, but if it's something quick and painless, what the heck?
All right, I'll talk to Mark about if he can hit that area. Let it be the last part, I suppose, of his project, because he has a set area that he's planning on doing. So we'll see how it goes. All right, thank you for that. We'll move on to communications, emails. I told you Gary Lavorgna sent an email regarding repairs on the work bee. We got a letter from the Vermont Division of Historic Preservations for the meeting house, and of course the quote for the rodent remover came in the emails. And the regular mails was the Vermont Land Trust just confirming the acquisition of the development rights for the 387 acres that previously known as the Massey Farm land. That came in regular mail. And the Wyndham Regional Commission is looking to re-adopt their plan. And so that came in the regular mail as well. I didn't go to check today when I went to pick up the accounts payable folder if there's additional mail, but I'll go in tomorrow and check it then. All right.
No, there is no other mail.
Okay. So then if it's okay with you guys, we're going to move along to pay orders. And all right. All right. I'd like to make a motion to approve the payroll warrant 2021-21 in the amount of $2,163.67, dated May 26, 2021. May I have a second?
Second.
Seconded from Stan Noga. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving payroll warrant 2021-21 for $2,163.67 signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right, excellent. Then we're going to take a look at the, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the accounts payable warrant number 2021-22 in the amount of $955.60, dated June 2nd, 2021. Can I have a second?
I second.
Who's that? Gwen? Oh, Stan. Thank you,
No,
Stan.
wasn't-
Any, who
was
seconded it?
Gwen.
It was
Gwen.
Gwen. Okay.
I didn't get a copy of it, by the way, so.
It just came this afternoon.
Oh,
It came this afternoon in the mail, and I did go down and pick up the actual paperwork on it, but yeah. I'll check to see if your name was on the, you don't know if your name was on the, I'll check to see if your name was on the list that you
well,
got.
he did send me the first one that we just
Oh, okay.
approved. But it may be, I was outside late this afternoon and.
That happens.
did not-
It was late today. Yeah, I didn't see it until tonight myself.
I'm trying to.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right. All of those in favor then of approving the accounts payable warrant 2021-22 in the amount of $955.60 dated June 2nd, 2021, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, payroll warrant has been approved. The accounts payable warrant has been approved as well. Okay. Setting up the agenda for the next meeting, which is Wednesday, June 16th. We'll have an update on the Round Schoolhouse Grant Project. Treasurer's report, we'll be able to itemize some things on the treasurer's report as necessary. We need to set the tax rate. We will reconsider the DV fiber contract. We can discuss the Wyndham Solid Waste Management District Committee. I'll report back on the school records from the basement, and we will talk about the emergency and hybrid meetings for select board meetings. I also have one other question that I would like to add to the agenda. We approved the listers to work to the end of the fiscal year. So I think, how do we want to handle, I guess we need to rehire them for the new fiscal year. I mean, you see who
So
this
much
is.
for Zoom.
Yeah. It's on hold. Anyway,
Pick it up, Frida.
let me just, excuse me, I'll call you back. This was actually a student of mine from Mullica Hill Friends School when I used to teach. All right, so update, so the listers, we'll put that on the agenda as well, because we're gonna have to talk about that. They seem to be very busy here in town and keeping up on the paperwork and.
And actually, you know, somewhat related to that, Dot, we should probably have on the agenda that, you know, we did, when we went through our budgeting process, we budgeted, obviously you and Stan were not on the board at the time, but we budgeted to increase the hourly rates for most of the hourly town employees. So we should discuss that and make sure we're all on the same page about those, and somewhat formalize the changing of those rates as of July 1st, when the new budget kicks in. And the next meeting will be our last meeting before that, so we should do it.
Do you have a copy?
Ideally, we do it before.
Do you have a copy of the rates, or Guy, could I get from you, or?
Yeah, I can recreate something from my notes from the discussions we had when we've worked up the budget numbers. Yeah. Yeah, I'll put something together and send it around.
Okay, Gwen, what did you want to say?
Sure. Go ahead.
All right.
All right, perfect.
I wanted
Glenn?
to let Stan know that he is on the list with Michael Masters. It came up Stan Noga, so you probably have it when you're at home. And then Guy had something to say.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that the listers have been working diligently. They've cleared up a lot of issues, and there's still a lot of issues to be cleared up. But the bottom line is that I think they're doing a great job. And it was my understanding that they would stay on until our next town meeting, which is in March of 2022. So hopefully that's the understanding that the select board has. But right now they're doing an incredible job. They're just sending out notices of grievances and so forth. And I have nothing but good things to say about them.
Actually, Guy, I was very specific when we hired them that we would evaluate them that they would work at a certain rate until the end of this fiscal year, and that we would reevaluate that at this June 16th meeting. So that's why I brought that up. So we'll move on with that and talk about the next meeting, but I'm sure that's what will happen.
Okay, I stand corrected, but they're willing to work until March of 2022 with the hope that maybe someone from our town would step up.
Okay. Very good. All right, is there anything else that we want to bring up before I go to item number 12? Yes, Stan?
Just a quick comment. My understanding of Bruce's letter is that the gentleman, Scott, that is, will be working on the town office this coming Monday to perform his service. Is that correct?
Maybe. It hasn't been concluded. I told him I was going to discuss it with you all tonight and talk to him tomorrow. But
Bruce, it's very important. Yes, it's very important that everyone who is considering going to be at that building be given enough notice, and that they will not be allowed in that building. So that
I don't know how to do. Just a moment, please. Let me answer that. my intention was to just notify everybody by email, including Guy and all you guys. I don't know what else you want me to do.
Well, I don't know. Does well, the listers and the planning, any other committee meetings, I don't know. We have to look at the calendar.
Okay.
The only people we might have to contact are the listers and the treasurer. Those two departments need to be informed and see what
Okay.
they can do to change their schedules.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's it. That's the only
I'm
thing.
sorry, what
you-
location is this about?
Town office.
Thank you.
Guy, let me see. What I'll do is when I talk to him tomorrow, and he wants to set a time, I'll tell him that I have to concur it with you so that we have all our bases touched.
All right, thanks, Bruce. And basically, if you can stay away from Tuesdays and Thursdays,
Oh,
that
yeah.
would be really.
No,
be
he's not. No, he can't come there Tuesday and Thursday because we can't have him messing around with that mouse poops with people in that building. No, it's got to be closed.
Yeah, right. No, I just wanted you to be aware that that would be the ideal situation. If for some reason he has to be there, then I guess we can reschedule things.
No, he's open. I mean, he could have come yesterday. He could have come right off. So his schedule's fine as far as
I only asked that because I was double checking it. It sounded to me like he was going to be there on Monday. So I didn't know how many other people were aware of that or noted that anyway,
it hadn't been concluded.
Okay.
When I talked to him yesterday, I told him that I was going to discuss it over with the board and just call him back tomorrow. To finalize anytime. It doesn't have to be Monday. It could be Wednesday. It could be Friday. It could be another day. So I guess what I'm going to do is when I talk to him, I'm going to just ask him what days he can come, and then I'll clear it up with Guy so that we don't crisscross with the listers and the auditors, etc.
Perfect. That's all. That'd be great. Okay. If there's nothing else, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn this evening's meeting. Can I have a second?
So, second.
I think Bruce got it first. All right. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of adjourning this evening's meeting, this time signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Good night, Frida.
Is at 8:12 p.m. Yay, we're done early. Yay.